guys! Welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new legal advice content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled Brother's Friend Wanted a Place to Store a Couple of Wardrobes and a Bed while he moved back with his parents until the COVID crisis is over. My house is now packed full with urine stinky furniture. What can I legally do with it? Country NSW Australia. I get on okay with my brother, and his friend hadn't shown any hint of being an idiot over the last 15 years, so I went along with this. I'll call my brother's friend Doug. My brother phoned me a while back and asked if I could do a favor for Doug, and he put Doug on, and Doug told me he's gotta move back in with his parents because he lacks work like all of us, and needs a place to store a couple of wardrobes full of clothes, and a bed for about 6 months until things open up again. My brother told Doug I had a spare room with not much in it, which is true, and I was happy to help, so I said sure, bring it over. The spare room is more than big enough for a couple of wardrobes and a bed. Through miscommunications and a shift change at work, I couldn't be there when Doug moved out of his old place and put his stuff in the spare room, so I dropped my spare key to my brother and he supervised Doug. On Friday afternoon, I came back home to a house packed full of what looks like every possession Doug has ever owned packed into every room of my house, and almost all of it is urine-stained and covered in mouse droppings. A couple of wardrobes full of clothes and a bed has turned into 2 wardrobes full of mouse droppings, clothes, and boxes, a dozen garbage bags of more clothes, 6 chairs and a kitchen table, a bedside table, a dozen boxes of books, 2 bookcases, boxes of kitchen implements, half a dozen wall hangings and paintings, a house door covered in stickers, a credenza, a single bed, and a double bed. Both of them reek of urine and bloke. 4 small chests of drawers, 3 kitchen cupboards, a pair of card tables, and 2 refrigerators with food in the freezers and plugged into my power, and more bags of bedclothes, electronics, just about everything to fill a regular small house. Everything in the house stinks and I can't do this. I don't mean it just has a scent to it, it stinks badly. I can taste the stink in my mouth even when I'm out of the house. With the heater on now it's winter, it's nauseating. I phoned Doug and told him he has to come and get this all out, and he can't. He's already 600 km away on his parents' property and has no money left. I told him I'm going to dump the lot of it if he doesn't come get it, and he told me I'd made a binding verbal agreement with him, and if I damaged anything of his he'd come down on me like a ton of bricks with legal action. 10 minutes after getting off the phone with him, his dad phoned and made more threats the same. I can't reach any of the shelving in my spare room, I can't use half my couch or my art desk, I can only just reach my own clothing in my bedroom drawers, and I can only use 1 chair in my kitchen. I'd contacted my brother and his stupid shrugging noise and said he thought that's what I agreed on. What am I legally allowed to do with all this? I agreed to a couple of wardrobes and a bed. I did not agree to a house full of stuff. I want to at least get the worst of it out of the house immediately, but it's been raining and we have a week more rain forecast. I can't afford to put it in storage. I'm slowly draining my savings the last few months as work has been cut back due to COVID. I don't have a garage or shed. I have no undercover place to put any of this. Best I could do was borrow a tarp and wrap up the worst wardrobes and cling wrap the beds, but that's only a minor help as it all smells bad. I did a house plan drawing, sorry it's rubbish. On the left is my normal house, TV is the lounge, as spare room D, desk room B, bedroom and K, kitchen. On the right is the same with all of Doug's stuff added in red. Update, it's all solved. On Monday morning I sent photos of everything disgusting I could and of Doug's furniture on the lawn to Doug and his dad, telling them it's beyond foul and I wouldn't be keeping any of it inside my house, and I'll dump it this week if they don't come get it. 20 minutes later, I got a call from Doug's mother. She asked if it was so bad could I send her some evidence, like photos. I told her I'd already sent them to her son and his dad. She yelled out in the background to one of them. She says she did send photos, then she got off the phone. Half an hour later she called me back and said they'd be down to pick up Doug's stuff and apologized. She asked if his books were okay. Apart from the mouse, gnawing and droppings, yes. I'm not a barbarian, they were outside, but under the eaves. This morning they turned up from 600 km away. Doug and his dad wanted to begin packing in their Pantech, but Doug's mom wasn't having any of that. They dumped 90% of it at the tip and came back and took just a few things home. Even the food in the freezers was off. His mom apologized and offered to make me good with cash, but she's already solved enough and I declined. She left it open-ended and said if I needed anything fixed to call her. I know I didn't follow legal advice, but this was the equivalent of someone asking you to hold onto a small keychain-sized box for half a year. But instead they sneakily cover you in 50 kilos of feces you're not allowed to wash off until you get a lawyer and fill out all the right paperwork and wait a month. I just couldn't do it. I got lucky. I've had words with my brother and changed the locks to my place too. He'd opened up and let Doug and Doug's mates in, then left the key behind with him. He didn't know how bad it was either. My brother is an idiot and Doug is a 32-year-old baby, and hopefully I'm a little wiser. The next story is titled "A Guy Drove Off with My Couch While I Was Moving In Because if it's on the street corner it's public property. I just moved to Nevada and it was just me and a couple friends unloading, so we left some things on the street next to the moving truck while we did heavier items like desks, shelves, etc. as a team. I came out after bringing in some more boxes, had been gone roughly 15 minutes, to find a guy had loaded my couch into the bed of his truck. I ran up to him and explained I owned the couch. He said since it was on the street corner it's public property and he's within his rights to take it. He drove off before I could block his car. I did get his license plate and went to the police to make a report, but they asked me if it was in fact on the curb and I said it was. But it was also pretty obviously next to a moving truck. It was wrapped up and surrounded by boxes. And I told him it was mine and I was moving. But the police didn't say anything that inspired hope. The couch has been in the family 3 generations now, and while it probably isn't worth more than a few $100, it is sentimentally priceless. Is there anything else I can do or further ways to escalate this to get my couch back? Update. Thank you to the user who suggested I look in the Facebook Marketplace. I found it in there and got the name of the man who took it. I took that information to the police, and the man had other complaints of petty theft against him. Even better, one of the people who helped me move realized my neighbor has a video doorbell, and I was able to get proof to the cops that the man stole my couch with me standing right there with a moving truck and boxes. A friendly officer went to his house and got my couch back, as well as a few other stolen outdoor furniture pieces. One was a bench from a local restaurant. I don't know the other situations. I deeply appreciate your legal advice. I now won't have to tell my parents the beloved, multi-generational couch is gone. Cheers. The next story is titled "A Local Business Owner Attacked a Woman with Drill Near Her Groin." How is this not a crime? How can she make him pay her expenses for this injury? A family member of mine was inside a bar with friends over the weekend. The bar owner jokingly took a power drill, thrust it towards her groin, and drilled into her upper thigh. It broke skin, burned her flesh, and the hospital told her it did nerve damage. The wound has gotten worse and required a second and third emergency room visit and seems to be developing an abscess. She has been referred to the burn unit and has already missed 2 days of work for this. She tried to file a police report the next day, but for some inexplicable reason, the officer didn't seem to think this was a crime when she told him she wanted to press charges. He told her because alcohol was involved. The owner was sober. There wasn't much they could do. The officer declined to see her wound or even a photo of it. He went and spoke to the business owner, who apparently admitted it and told him he would pay her medical bills and that she is banned from the bar. She obviously had no intention of ever returning. Another bartender and customer who witnessed the incident also gave statements to police confirming that he did continue to advance towards her with the drill while she screamed and tried to get away. I want to know 2 things. 1. Is there anything that can be done about pressing charges against this man? He has been charged in the past for harassing women, if that matters. 2. How can she get him to pay her medical bills and time off work? He told the officer he would, but she has little faith that he will. Does she need an attorney? Update. Basically, almost 2 years ago, my family member was attacked with a power drill by a bar owner. He was trying to flirt with her. She was not interested, and then, jokingly, thrust a running power drill into her genital area. She pushed his hand away, and so he drilled through her jeans into her inner thigh instead. Instead of immediately stopping, he continued drilling, and the drill bit penetrated her jeans, penetrated her skin, and also burned her badly enough to require treatment from the burn clinic and cause nerve damage. She got an infection from the wound as well. Pics are on the old post. The nurses at the hospital had encouraged her to report the incident to police, and she did the next day, especially because there were numerous witnesses present for this entire incident who were horrified and wanted to make a statement. The police officer who responded seemed indifferent and even hostile towards her reporting this right off the bat, and he refused to see the wound or even a picture of it. He wasn't willing to speak to any witnesses. He did go and speak with the bar owner, who admitted to doing all of this and claimed it was an accident and that he would pay her medical bills. Spoiler alert, he did not. The officer deemed this answer satisfactory and went back to tell my cousin that because alcohol was involved, owner was sober, she had one drink, no one was intoxicated, that nothing could be done, and that she was banned from the bar for life. That was the end of that, or so we thought. Now for the update. Out of the blue in early 2020, my cousin gets a phone call from an FBI agent. I don't know how this works, but apparently our local PD has an FBI agent who comes in a couple days a week and works on or reviews stuff. Anyways, the bar owner was being investigated for separate, unrelated sex crimes, and the FBI agent came across the report my cousin had made against him. She asked my cousin what had happened, and she told her. The agent was shocked and appalled. She said because none of that was in the officer's police report. Nothing whatsoever about this guy taking a power drill to her groin. She told the FBI lady that she had very thorough documentation, pictures, and medical records from this incident, as well as a dozen witnesses, and the agent had her send it all to her and set up a meeting the following week to discuss. When they sat down the following week, she told her that what had happened to her was most definitely a crime, possibly even a sex crime. The witnesses confirmed her account and were willing to testify in court. The officer who had blown her off was reprimanded and disciplined for his inaction, and trying to defend himself by claiming, "I didn't know her wound was that bad," to which the FBI agent asked him, "Why did you refuse to look at her wound or pictures of it?" Anyways, the FBI lady took this case to the district attorney, who agreed to file charges. The bar owner has since been arrested and charged with the following: second-degree reckless injury, felony; fourth-degree sexual assault, misdemeanor; disorderly conduct, misdemeanor; fourth-degree sexual assault, misdemeanor; fourth-degree sexual assault, misdemeanor; fourth-degree sexual assault, misdemeanor; fourth-degree sexual assault, misdemeanor; stalking, felony. His tavern license was revoked, his bar was shut down, and has since been sold. The case is delayed due to COVID, but they did arrest and charge him finally. This guy also sexually assaulted other women. Both before and after this incident, he has prior disorderly conduct convictions and many restraining orders from women against him. These other charges include allegedly cornering a female bartender and demanding she give him oral sex, at which point she just ran screaming out of the place. He also violently cornered and groped another female bartender, and then stalked her mercilessly, smashed out her windows, slashed her tires, etc., until he was finally caught on video stalking her. It never sat well with me that the police blew this off, especially knowing his prior history, and hearing stories about him abusing other women. Obviously, this guy was escalating, probably because he never faced consequences for his actions before. I'm glad to say he will finally face justice for his crimes, thanks to the actions of this FBI agent. The next story is titled, "I found out I had a child when CPS contacted me because her mother was losing custody." Now what? MD. About a week and a half ago, I was contacted by CPS, who asked if I knew Mary Smith, a woman with whom I had a relationship when I was on drugs. I said yes and was informed that she had a child, of a last name, who had been taken from the home, and I was named as her father. With no other contactable family, she could come to me or otherwise go to foster care. It was relayed to me that I was listed as the child's father on her legal documents as well. To cut out some bullcrap from the middle here, I'll just skip to the fact that I did accept emergency custody of the child, and I do actually pretty strongly believe that I'm probably her biological father for a number of reasons. But I feel like at this point the case workers have been unhelpful and are basically like, for all intents and purposes, you're her legal father by, and not answering my questions. Emma apparently knew I existed and was told through her life that I was her father, but her mother said she had no way of contacting me, which I guess is technically true. My questions: how was I listed on the birth certificate, legal records, school records, etc., and literally never informed ever at any point? How is this possible? The caseworker said that because I'm on the birth certificate, and the undertone here was unless you have an identical twin somewhere that is 100% your child, there's no need to take a DNA test. Is there any benefit to doing so? This one I may have to consult with a lawyer on, but if I'm her father, am I then entitled to child support or the foster care stipend? That sounds terrible, but I don't make a lot of money, and I'm stressed because there's times I feel like I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough for myself even working full-time, and I need to be able to provide for a kid now too. It's not about the money, but it's a little bit about the money. Update. It's been almost 3 months now, and I thought I'd come in real quick to give an update. Overall, the kid and I are doing great. I really expected the adjustment period to suck, but I feel like maybe this poor kid really needed some structure and stability and totally glommed onto that. I try to just give her as much of my love, patience, structure, and stability that I have to give. I've been learning a lot about attachment, trauma, and everything. It's been overwhelming, but every night, no matter how exhausted I am, I get into bed and I thank God for her. I wouldn't trade her for anything in this world. I tell her every night she's my favorite thing. Legally, things are kind of boring. I did the DNA test, unsurprisingly got the result that she's mine biologically. The emergency order is still in place. Mom is still in jail. She was offered the option of going to rehab and refused. She'll be in jail for at least a few more months, and after she's out we will make a parenting plan for visits with help from the social worker. Realistically, I think she'll die before she gets clean. That sounds like a horrible thing to say, but it is how it is. It's been a wild ride. It's not easy, but it's joyful, and it's really changed my life and made me want to be better in a lot of ways. The next story is titled, I Allowed My 17-year-old Sister to Move In With Me, CT to NY, Dad is Threatening Me with Kidnapping Charges NY. Last year, April 2017, my sister, then 17 and living in CT with our mother, dropped out of high school and came to live with me. I live in NY State, Albany area. My mother is disabled by mental illness, and in her condition was neglecting my sister, and my adult brother that lived there, disabled W/autism, was physically abusive towards both of them. According to the custody agreement in my mother and father's divorce, in 2006, it was Dad that was supposed to be the custodial parent, and my mom was supposed to be paying him child support and getting weekend visitation. My sister lived with Dad and his then girlfriend, now wife, for about 3 years and then sent her to live with Mom. However, Mom never got the support order changed but worked out an agreement with Dad. She got to keep the SSI money. That was my sister's benefit instead of it being forwarded to Dad for support, and he kept her on his health insurance. When my sister came to live with me last year, Mom told me she would send the benefit money on to me for taking care of my sister. She didn't. Dad kept her on his health insurance but refused to pay anything towards her online high school course when asked, saying he didn't have any money to spare. So I'm paying it because she needs a high school education, and it's only $50/month. This year my sister turned 18 and has almost finished her online high courses and has started looking for a job, but is considering trade school, so proud of her. She will be staying with me until she can afford to move out. My wife and I have agreed to that and have no problem with that. In NY, child support can be received up to age 21. So I filed a petition for child support for Mom and for Dad through NY State, and the county court here sent out notices to them to appear for a court date. Dad received his yesterday and called me up, asked me why I was doing this to him, told me I need to drop the case because it's going to ruin him financially, and that technically what you did was kidnapping because nobody asked him permission when my sister was moving from CT to NY to live with me, when the court order still says she's supposed to live with him, but that he didn't want to go down that route because it's low, but that it's low of me to bring him to court about child support. So my question is, do I need to worry about being arrested for kidnapping? Would I be better off dropping the child support case? Update. So, I had my day in court today for the child support hearing. Dad actually showed up for court instead of using the option of conference call like my mother did. My sister, let's call her Valerie, wanted to sit in the courtroom in case the judge had any questions for her in particular. He didn't, but I'm proud of how brave my sister is for going to court when she didn't have to, because I could feel my heart beating in my throat the entire time. The judge started out by saying he was unsure if a support order could be issued today, given that Valerie is now 18 and in CT would be ineligible, but in NY would be eligible until 21, but then began asking some questions. Dad did a lot of talking at first, mostly saying how he had a court order that gave him full custody of Valerie, and that Mom was supposed to be paying him child support. Then he said how Valerie dropped out of high school and left the state to live with me without telling him or getting his permission, and how he didn't know for a month after the fact. He complained that Mom never speaks to him about anything, that I make no effort to have a relationship with him, and that Valerie doesn't either. Boo-hoo, we're all ganging up on him, and he doesn't know what he did to deserve it, etc. Sure enough, as a few of you kind folks mentioned, the judge asked him, "Why didn't you know where she was for a month if she was supposed to be in your custody?" He then says that she was staying with her mother at the time, but that she would have had a place with him, and still does have a place with him if she had asked. At that point, sick of hearing him play the victim, I piped up and asked as calmly as I could manage, "Why did she have a place with you 9 years ago when you dropped her off at Mom's house, didn't tell her you weren't coming back for her, and then got rid of all her belongings?" My mother on the phone confirmed what happened and said that she asked me if I could take in my sister because of my brother's violent behavior early in 2017. Valerie was 17 at the time she moved to NYS and is still attending high school to earn her diploma. Better late than never, and I've been her sole source of support ever since. The judge then reviewed the guidelines for monetary support. My mother, being disabled and on Social Security, was to pay no more than $50 per month for support. Dad was to pay no more than 17% of his income, which translated to roughly $800 per month. The judge asked me what amount I was looking for. My answer was that I just wanted some help with the groceries and her medical bills, so I asked for a total of $250 from Dad and the max $50 from Mom. Dad tried to haggle me down to $200 per month because he just bought a house last year. You should have seen the look on the judge's face. The judge reminded him that the guidelines recommended $800 a month, and I held firm on $250. Dad sighed and said he'll have to give up smoking to afford it. This is supposed to make me feel bad. The judge made the order for support effective until age 21, and I never did get in trouble for allegedly kidnapping my little sister. Thank you to everyone here that gave me encouragement to see this through and not fall for Dad's intimidation tactics. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.